All right, you ever want to talk to a movie star? Well, we've got one tonight. This guy is unbelievable, Amin El Gamal. Thank you for being on the show. And this is a pretty new thing for you, being on HBO in the Newsroom. How exciting is it for you? And everybody else, by the way, welcome.
How exciting!
Our typical crew: Keith Knox, Ken. We've got Ayel. We've got a new person, Jill, in the house. We have Charles, and I'm here, of course. We've got Amin El Gamal, and we have, hey, it looks like one of your relatives is on?
Yeah, it's my brother.
Oh, cool.
Hey.
Awesome. Welcome, brother. And Diana Ridley just showed up. Okay. So let's start first with your acting career, how you got involved in this, how exciting is it to be on the show?
Oh, I mean, it was a thrill, a complete thrill. I've been acting since I was in preschool, so it's been a long and wonderful road for me. I studied acting in high school. I studied it in college. I went to Stanford University. And then straight out of that, I went to a conservatory program at USC in LA. So I just finished that a year ago. So it was a wonderful, lucky, exciting event to be able to work on this show with such incredible people.
That's amazing right there that you just said you just graduated a year ago. Now, what I always hear is you have to bus tables, you have to take odd jobs, you have to just kind of get in the background, and here you are a year out and you're already doing this.
Yeah, I mean,
is that pretty bizarre?
Lucky. I'm very lucky. I have worked odd jobs. I will probably continue to work odd jobs in between big acting gigs. So it's, you know, I was lucky that there was a part for me at the time. I was lucky that I was in the right place at the right time. I work really, really hard as well. So kind of good luck and work kind of like meet in the middle somewhere, and then incredible things happen. So
okay, so I'm doing a little bit of research. You could probably tell it better. And everybody, when you're ready for a question, either raise your hand or say something on the side. I'm going to keep going, but it's the best way to move the show along. So you had to tell everybody first, what the show's about, what your role is, and then how you really got into the character. I love that you were looking at videos. You were eating the types of foods that the character would do. And you really wanted to be part of that. Is that part of acting, one? And then two, what is the show about?
Yeah, it's definitely part of acting. I mean, let me start with the show. The show is called The Newsroom. It's on HBO. It's going to be the 6th episode, airs tonight at 10 p.m. It's basically the inner workings of a fictional cable news newsroom by Aaron Sorkin, who did The West Wing and Social Network. And it deals with current events within the last year and a half. So all the events you're going to see are stuff that you've lived through recently, which is kind of, I find really exciting. I came in the episode last week about the Egyptian Revolution, which was really exciting. And what was the other question?
How you got into the role? Supposedly you were watching video clips. You were really wanting to feel the passion and the energy because you weren't there. So is that the way to do it? And what kind of stuff did you learn?
So in terms of acting, research is a big part of it on any level. It's always kind of different though. Sometimes people, will go out and interview other people to get an accent. Sometimes your imagination will take you there, and sometimes it's a combination of research and imagination. What I found really useful was my part was entirely on Skype. So I actually Skyped a lot of my relatives from Egypt. That's my background.
Okay.
And kind of got in there, asked them what it was like to be on the ground, kind of got used to being on Skype because it's not something I do very often. And then really investigated. I knew a lot about the revolution. I followed it very closely, but I wanted to make sure that on the 2 days that my character appears in this episode, that I had, as thoroughly as possible, found all the archival footage, all the footage that people posted themselves on YouTube. I watched a lot of the actual cable and network news that was reporting those days, so I got a feel of what was going on, so I could kind of be as authentic as possible, and also as emotionally connected, because it was such an emotional time when Mubarak stepped down.
Right.
So I immersed myself in that. I listened to Egyptian music. I had one on my iPod on the set. I would listen to this Egyptian, really sappy pop song about the revolution in Arabic. And I studied an accent Amin El Gamal, who's actually an executive, or he worked for Google. I don't know in what capacity, but he was one of the big people in the revolution. So I actually kind of stole his accent.
Huh, interesting.
Which we watered down a little bit when we actually shot it, but that was the primary stuff that I did. I had a little bit more time. HBO operates like a film company as opposed to TV, which is much faster. So I had quite a bit of time to really delve into it, to really kind of live out the character's life a little bit more, to try to think about his background. It was also, I mean, it was I felt very well written, so it wasn't very hard to, honestly, to get into it. The kind of sounds just flew very well.
Right. You talked about Skyping with your family and stuff. Your brother's on right now on the Google Hangout.
I know.
This is your first Google Hangout.
I know it is. I'm scared.
We're nice people. What do you mean? If you can be on the Newsroom, you can be on our show. This is easy, man. This is easy stuff.
And I see my friend Lauren.
Did your brother want to ask a question, or are you there?
I don't see him.
Yeah, he's on there, but maybe he's muted. Charles?
He seems to be. I don't know.
Yeah, there he is.
There he is.
All right, dude. Whoa. And are you Google? Are you hanging out from Egypt?
No, I'm actually hanging out from San Diego.
Oh man, I thought this was like gonna be the coolest show ever.
No, I don't think I have any Egyptians on here.
Oh, because you were talking with family over in Egypt.
Yeah, I have extended family. My family, I mean, my immediate family's in California.
All right.
But
what's your brother? That's all right. Thanks for coming on, man.
My brother.
Yeah. Thanks for
all right, Ayel's got the first question. Go ahead, Ayel.
Amin, it is nice to meet you. I've been reading up on your blog and on your website during the week.
Thank you.
Where were the scenes that you were in? Where were they shot?
Okay, so the Newsroom set is built at a studio called Sunset Gower in Los Angeles. And it's this very extensive, beautiful set that is almost like a functional newsroom. It's pretty extraordinary. Being there was really overwhelming. However, you can walk up the stairs of the newsroom into one of the glass doors upstairs, and then there's nothing. There's this soundstage. So they built an Egypt room that was a set kind of replica of rooms that they'd researched. Half of it was my room where I Skyped from, and the other half was if you saw the episode, there's a character who is on the ground and he gets beat up. So the other half was his hotel room. And we actually filmed the whole thing live. So we would go downstairs and rehearse, then we'd kind of do the rehearsal. But it was all live feed, so we were all kind of acting at the same time. I kind of saw them, Emily Mortimer and Dev Patel, in my screen, and Jeff Daniels, but not really. So it was kind of acting to a camera, which was a challenge.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we rehearsed in person, and then it was interesting. I felt like a lot of the real acting work and the skill that I had, I put into the audition and the callback and the table read. And then when we actually got to shoot it, it was just the camera, and I just talked, and then they edited it.
Well, if you ever need any advice, Keith and I were in a scene in Johnny Be Good in 1987. Just let me know. I was in for about 5 seconds. So if you need advice.
And who was in that movie, Chris?
Huh?
Who was in the movie?
Johnny Be Good was all these people, but I don't care anyway. It was Anthony Michael Hall was the main star. Robert Downey Jr., Uma Thurman.
Wow, that's awesome.
And Chris Yates, so I was right there with him.
Yeah,
that's great.
All the big names.
Look that up.
Yeah, don't look it up. It's a horrible movie. All these people here have already suffered by me showing it a few times. They're like, please, no more, no more, no more.
And whatever you do, don't mention the Emmy.
Yeah, don't mention the Emmy. Don't mention any of this stuff. Okay, so what?
Is that
right
Emmy?
Behind
no,
you? Yeah.
no.
Emmy.
Do you want to win one? Here, I'll send it over.
You just had to ask, didn't you?
Oh, no.
I've only got 4, man. But it's small time. It's not as networky as you. So, but you got a lot of interesting stuff in your bio that I looked up. Okay, so you're a songwriter. You play the guitar. competitive swimming, which Olympics, we can talk about that. You're running. The one that threw me off, all that I could get, okay? As someone as an actor, okay, yeah, you do all that stuff. Clowning. Now that one blew me. What is that? What is clowning?
So, in graduate school, we had a whole class and a whole show, kind of clown show that we did. That was one of our units. And clowning for an actor, it's like our teacher went to clown school. With
for the circus clown?
Yeah, with Steve-O. Who went to clown school. He went to school to do what he does, surprisingly. And so in terms of actor training, it had to do with kind of loosening you up. Because in terms of clown, we would do these really terrifying exercises where we had to make people laugh, and we had nothing. We just had to be up there and find a way to make people laugh. And it was really hard. It was one of the scariest things. But when you can kind of overcome that as an actor, you can kind of overcome anything. So, and then we developed our own clown kind of personalities. I don't really do it very often, but if I have to go into an audition doing clown, I could.
So when you win your first Emmy, Oscar, whatever, you're going to say, I want to thank the Clown Academy, because without the bozo nose, I would have never been able to do what I do.
Possibly.
That's amazing. That is unbelievable. There really is. It's a serious thing. You got to take clown.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to clown college, but they incorporated that in our curriculum in my master's program in acting.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Anybody else got a question? I'll keep rolling. Come on, folks. All right, Tango.
I got a question.
Okay, not the food question yet.
Nope, not the food question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so do you prefer show, film acting, or just regular theater? Which one would you prefer?
That's a good question.
That's her best question of all time. She's been on our show 4 months.
I love theater. For an actor, that's what requires the most kind of like physical skill and endurance. And it's also you spend at least a month rehearsing with people, and then you go through this whole journey. So for community building, it's a really wonderful life experience. But I have to say recently, especially the last year where I've been pursuing acting in LA, TV and film has been a lot more fulfilling to me. I feel like the writing on TV is some of the best writing anywhere. Better than like studio films right now, and better than a lot of theater. So I've really gotten very interested in television, just because of the quality of the stories that are being told. But I'm always doing theater. I just had 2 callbacks for a play today. I still go out for theater. It's kind of like my religion.
And HBO is really doing a great job with these mini-series or whatever you call them. You wouldn't really call them TV series, would you? I guess they're...
Well, it is a TV series. I mean, it's the first season. So in the first season, there's only 10 episodes in this particular one. So they'll make it shorter. But if it will continue to another season. Probably will be a little bit longer. HBO also loves their theater people. If you look at the roster on the Newsroom, Jeff Daniels, Emily Mortimer, John Gallagher Jr., Allison Pill, all of them have very strong theater backgrounds. Aaron Sorkin started out in the theater writing.
Okay.
And there's a rigor that theater people have, which is I think what they were looking for on this show, with all the dialogue and the kind of moments. It definitely is the kind of team that comes from theater, I think.
Interesting. Trying to think. So,
Ken has a question.
Ken, you have a question? Yes,
I do.
Wow! You knew right away.
I have to get off. That's why I wanted to ask this question. I'm going to kind of steal Diane's thunder a little bit. Hey, so what's your favorite cheeseburger in LA, Tommy's or In-N-Out Burger?
That's so funny. I was just thinking about Tommy's. In-N-Out, I mean, I like, but it's not like a special occasion.
I know. It's overrated.
Yeah, and it's kind of everywhere. It's a little bit like not that special. But I have to say, if you've ever been to Father's Office, there's 2, one in Santa Monica and one in Culver City. I think that's the best burger in LA. It's kind of a bar, but they have this incredible burger, and they're really snobby about it. They won't let you change anything, but you don't want to change anything because it's delicious.
We're in Santa Monica.
I don't know.
Father's Office, okay.
I usually go to the one in Culver City. It's at Helms Bakery, kind of off of Venice.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
That was it, Ken.
So
That's it. I guess I gotta run. I've been out playing Uncle all day, and I gotta make some dinner. So.
All right.
I gotta run, and then I'll be live from Phoenix next week. So.
Sounds good, man.
It was nice to meet you.
Take care.
Hey, it's nice meeting you. Thanks for dropping in.
Now Diana's gonna have to leave because you took her food question.
Oh, she left. I'm sorry. Well, now that opens up another spot.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Take care, man.
Bye.
See ya. Okay, so okay. I think this is fascinating, all the stuff that you do. What are you most passionate about? Obviously, acting is it. But besides that, all this other stuff that you're doing, it looks like you do tango. You do all kinds of things. What do you like doing outside of acting?
I'm a kind of closet songwriter, so and it's something I do for myself. I haven't really taken it outside that much, but I'll kind of taught myself how to play guitar for a play that I had to do a while ago. And then kept with it and it's a kind of my therapy, so that's something I love to do.
Okay.
I have kind of this like dormant activist in me, so which I usually comes out more in my work, like the ideas of the way an actor can represent someone in order to enact change. For example, there's a lot of representations of terrorists, of Arabic people. So I always kind of assumed my first role might be a terrorist, and I've auditioned for terrorists, and I always kind of thought that, that would be it. And it always kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So to have the opportunity...
Right, it's like they always put you in that spot.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, it would be really fascinating to explore the world of a terrorist, the light and the dark, and to try to make a really human portrayal.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, I was really grateful that Aaron Sorkin wrote a positive, Arabic figure, because that's a huge push forward. When I was growing up, I didn't see representations of, my ethnicity in any positive light at all. And I think it's huge. I mean, getting more diversity on TV, getting more human portrayals of people is something I'm really passionate about.
I love that you say that. To me, that's an interesting thing, because you're not just saying, "Oh, I just love acting" and all that. You're really thinking it as more depth. You're talking about actually almost in a way, in a sense, creating maybe a different perception or creating a different legacy for what people believe. And to me, that's a stronger statement than to say, "I like to act."
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a whole lot of fun, but you can't really be obsessed with yourself. You can't. There's a thin line between self-obsession and pursuing acting. And it can be dangerous. So I feel like I have to hook up to a bigger cause.
Right.
On a higher level, what I love to do is I love to tell stories. Why do I love to tell stories? I like to enact change. I like to move people.
That's
I like
cool.
to help them change the way they see things. I like to get people talking. I think the Newsroom is an amazing show. People are talking on so many levels about the issues that it's bringing up, about, some people love it, some people hate it. And that's why we do art. That's why we do theater, or I do at least, because it gets people talking, it gets people engaged. It changes their life on like a real way, I think.
Changes the dynamics possibly of the way the world works. I mean,
the way the world sees people. I mean, it's a little bit idealistic to say that, but it's so true. I mean, think about it.
That's cool.
Mass media has such an influence. TV, people love TV. It becomes, characters on TV become people's best friends, Pretty incredible.
That's cool, man. I like that. I like that philosophy you have. Ayel, you're up.
Yes. Judging, I haven't seen the episode yet. I've been trying to find it online. I haven't been successful. I've been able to watch clips and...
It can be tricky with HBO.
Buy HBO.
Yes.
Buy HBO.
That's a big...
Don't download it. They will kill your internet connection.
From the way that your character was written, how much latitude did you have to be creative with the character and to inject your personality? I saw you did quite a bit of research from your web blog on the character and the politics and the actual timing of the events. How much were you able to inject?
Tell that story.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, it's a good story. I actually had a good amount of leeway. The text was very tight. They cut some of it, but it was very, verbal. So, and I'm a little bit limited because I'm on Skype the entire episode, on Skype. But when I first got the script, I didn't want to say anything in the audition and the callback, but I noticed that my character's name, the name he reveals, was Swahili. I'd never heard of it. I'm Egyptian. I know lots of Egyptian people, and I was like, this is weird. This doesn't sound like a name that would be someone in Egypt. So I looked it up, and it turned out it was actually Swahili, and it was kind of a mistake, and I was really terrified because it's my first big job, and I didn't want to upset Aaron Sorkin, and I didn't want to be like, who is this person who But I ended up talking to the head of wardrobe. I was getting my fitting, and I just couldn't. It made me feel really icky because to get a chance to represent, where I come from, people that have been kind of oppressed by the representation in media, it felt only fair to have a name that accurately represents them. So
you could have lost your job on this.
I mean, I trusted the integrity of the team. So she encouraged me. She was like, yes, let's write him an email. So I wrote him an email, very carefully worded, and immediately got a response like, yes, we want to change this. This is a big deal. So he had me send him a list of Arabic names. I sent maybe 20 first and last names. I wrote the etymology, what they mean. Some of them I knew, some of them I had to look up. And it was like mix and match. And I got a script FedEx to me the next day with a new name. And we were shooting it was shoot like 2 days later. So it was all very fast. There was also another little Amin that was my alias name.
Yes.
It's actually derived from an ancient Egyptian god's name that means the hidden one, Amun, Amen. And originally in the script it said it was Arabic, and I was like, that's not Arabic. So I got factual stuff I got to do. I had input into what I was wearing also from the costume designers. They were all very talented. And also in terms of the accent, I had originally had a little bit of a thicker accent because realistically my character is supposed to be really poor. His dad is a mechanic. He wouldn't really know English that well. But I think for the sake of the story, we kind of adjusted it, toned it down a little bit.
I'm just blown away by that. I can understand someone that's been in the business 20, 30 years. You're 1 year out, and you're already making demands out there. Way to go, man. No, but you did that for integrity. I think that's
I needed to.
That says a lot, man.
I needed to. I couldn't really sleep. I couldn't really live with myself if I had kind of at least not tried.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think I know the next question should come from your brother. I want to ask your brother something. So has he changed since he's this big time star now? Does he still does he take your calls as a brother? What was he like growing up?
No, I mean I don't think he's let it head at all. Yeah, we kind of grew up in the same room for 17 years, and we had a very peaceful coexistence. And
what's the age difference?
A year and a half.
Oh wow. Who's older?
He is.
Oh wow, he looks younger. Sorry, dude.
I play all these 18. The character is 18. I find that hilarious.
Oh wow.
I just read for another pilot actually, where I was again 18.
And so, did you think he would become an actor when he was a kid, or what kind of stuff would he do around the house? Would he always do plays or act, or because when I was growing up, I'd try and do sportscasting and all, and that's what I ended up doing. Was he doing the same kind of stuff?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what he was doing. My younger brother and I were kind of the members of a small theater company that he started when we were, I don't know, like between the ages of 5 and 7 or something.
Y'all started a theater company?
Yeah, in my garage.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Tell us that story.
Well, in the back room.
Yeah, he worked us really hard, and sometimes
there was no union.
Yeah,
I would overwork them. They would revolt against me.
That's awesome.
We would build these elaborate sets, and it was me and them, and then our stuffed animals. We'd usually write the script down, like scribble maybe the first act, and then we'd have to improvise the rest. It was very ambitious.
And who watched the show? Family members? Neighbors?
Yeah. My mom and my dad, I think.
And how many shows would you do? What kind of shows were they? What was the theme of them?
You can tell.
We had
This is an exclusive. I can tell. This is great stuff.
we had a stuffed animal. That was his stuffed animal, actually. That was a penguin. Penguiny.
Okay.
And he was married to a rabbit named Rabbitine. And we had this series called Penguiny's Adventures. We were just like, Penguiny's Adventures in space. Big cardboard like spaceship, and then we'd meet aliens, and someone would get kidnapped. Not unlike the episode, to be honest. He actually pointed this out. He was like, the episode sounds like what we wrote. You're there, and then you get kidnapped, and then you come back. You know, it was pretty funny. And then we did one in Antarctica, I think. Some of them failed. Some of them flopped, never made it to opening. So.
But you were how old at this time?
6, 7, younger. We
And
also did
what-
a little bit older.
So now that you're going to get funding, let's make a movie out of this, out of these little pilots you used to do. I think that'd be awesome.
I think I should.
All right, Diana's got a question. You're up to bat.
Hi, Diana.
So would y'all compete for roles when you had y'all's little opening when you were little?
No, we would kind of play versions of ourselves, basically. My brother would be able to. My youngest brother, I feel like, played all the weird characters. Like he'd be like the Martian or like the Eskimo or whatever. But I think we were mainly more or less versions of ourselves. I think we had the same name. I think we tried to do a James Bond one at one point. Secret Service. Wow, memories.
Good stuff, man. This is down memory lane here.
Yeah.
All right, Jill and who's the other person over there? Charles? Lauren. Do you have a question over there? They've been awfully quiet. We try and include people in questions when we can. It seems like you're a great writer because I was reading some of your blog stuff. You're not just an actor. You're really the way you put your words together. You're a great storyteller. Do you like this space right now that in the old days as an actor you would just beg and hope for people to call you? But right now you're coming on Google Hangouts, which thank you very much. You can really market yourself. How are you doing that? You're on Twitter. I saw you tweeting stuff out. You blog. Is this an extra advantage for you, and how do you want to utilize it?
I'm very social media savvy. I love social media. I use Hootsuite. I schedule tweets. Some of the tweets you see, most of them are probably scheduled. I make sure I have streams, so I see the people discussing things on Newsroom, and I reach out to them sometimes, great. Which is really exciting. I'm kind of we're at the forefront of this really different time when actors can really cultivate their audience. And Twitter gives you access to so many people that you might not have access to before.
How important is that, cultivating an audience? That's a great thing you just said. Is it a golden opportunity for you to do that?
Yeah, it's just getting known, I think, is especially in the beginning. You want to have, and I try to stay with the 80-20 rule, 80% like being of service, sharing quotes, sharing content, helping people out, being a good citizen, a good friend, and 20% like, oh, I'm on the Newsroom, or check out this Google blog. So I try to adhere to that because I know how it can be when you're getting messages constantly that are just like, look at me, look at me, look at me. But it is important. It's important inside the industry to get known by casting directors, and so it's important once they kind of trust your work and start casting you, then you start getting more jobs and more auditions. So that's important. It's important to me to reach out to other people, other actors in the community, to try to be an inspiration to them because it's a very difficult thing. Hello.
That's my son Ryan. He just wants to say hi.
Hi.
I got 4 kids, man. I got 4 kids, and 2 of them are down, and 2 are still awake.
4 kids and 4 Emmys.
Dude, yeah, I know. So I better not win another Emmy because
that's a dangerous correlation.
If I win my 5th Emmy, that means another kid is coming. Oh my gosh, she's like, hell no.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, honey. Oh my goodness. Hey, Charles, you need to get some of this stuff tonight.
I like to reach out to other actors, especially other actors who are Arab American, who are struggling or who are working. it's kind of also my nature as a person. It's not all like a scheme to get another job.
Right, I understand. Would you ever go over there? Have you been over there again?
Egypt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a bunch of times. I used to go a lot more frequently when I was younger. The last time I went was probably 2006, I think.
Okay.
So not that I haven't been since the revolution. But I remember every time I went, me and my brothers would always complain. He can vouch for me. That there was this feeling of stagnation, that no one was doing anything, that no one had anything going on. It was palpable, and I think that was kind of the boiling point. You could feel this kind of stagnation that was kind of rising to the point of the revolution. So when the revolution happened, I felt like I was holding my breath. I didn't even know it, and I could finally breathe. I felt like the place that my parents come from has finally kind of shown up on the world, in a positive way, because 9/11 was the opposite. 9/11 dehumanized that part of the world. 9/11 had negative repercussions for Arabic people and Arab American people everywhere. And that makes sense. But I think the Arab Spring rehumanized that region. So I feel like now, there's a little bit more of a positive.
Yeah, and you were talking about social media. A lot of that stuff, the news couldn't even get, and it was on Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah.
And they got to leverage that platform a lot.
And that's what I used for my research, honestly. A lot of it was homemade video, stuff on phones, stuff on YouTube, which was what my character was doing. That's who my character was. My character was a blogger, and he was a tweeter, and he was taking footage on his own. Also, I've been able to connect with Egypt more easily. I guess a distant cousin, I'll call her, she started something called 18 Days in Egypt. That's a crowdsourced documentary, meaning it's all footage people had themselves. So it's kind of in beta, but they create these streams with footage that people had, just everyday people, to try to tell stories about what was going on, which I think is really interesting, really powerful. It's definitely the wave of the future. I mean, a lot of times I find my news on Twitter way before I listen to NPR or whatever.
Absolutely, man. I was in TV. I've been on the Newsroom since 1991, by the way. So wow.
The real Newsroom.
Yeah, the real Newsroom.
Not the fake Newsroom.
Not the fake one. Did it from 91 to 2007, and created my own social media company. People thought I was nuts, but exactly what you're saying is, you can create information, content, brands, actors, newscasting, Google Plus Hangouts.
Exactly.
We can all be our own newsroom right now, and I love that these platforms allow that. So what you're tapping into, you're pretty much ahead of the curve here. So a lot of guests, it's great to hear that you do that stuff. And
I wasn't on Google Plus. Yeah.
That's okay, but you're thinking about the way you can do this stuff. And
as for an actor, I've now become, trained, MFA-trained Egyptian-American actor. That's like what I am. That's like my brand, who, is versatile and a little bit quirky. That's that's the kind of thing an actor's message is. And I don't do everything I do with that in mind, but that's my personality has come out. It's given me other opportunities to work on other projects. It's friends who, know me as that, will sell me as that to other people. That's for actors, you have to create a brand out of yourself, and you have to be careful not to become self-obsessed, like I said before.
Right.
But that's how it's useful. It's like becoming known, projecting your personality, engaging with other people. It helps in casting too.
This show is going a little bit. We go about an hour, but I don't want to take too much of your time. We can keep going if you've got some more time to take questions, or it's up to you.
Yeah, if people have questions, I'd love to.
Okay, Diana, you're up to bat.
Okay, so are there any actors from the Newsroom who turned out to be nothing like you thought they'd be?
That's a tough question.
I was so like the meek one, because everyone had been together for about half the season already. I was only working a week on the show, so I was kind of like the new kid on the block, and I also was my first big job. So they gave me a trailer, which was really fun, but I would be too afraid to go in because I'd be afraid that they need me on the set, so I kind of hang out. I remember Aaron Sorkin came up to me at one point and was like, "Hi, what are you doing behind the set there?" Because in theater, you kind of wait in the wings, But then I kind of figured it out. They have people come find you. They always know where you are. I mean, so that was interesting. I didn't really know what to expect. I've heard so many stories about stars. Everyone was so gracious. Jeff Daniels was really nice to me. He made an effort to come up to me while we were getting lunch and tell me how great he thought my work was, and
That's awesome.
how excited he was. Yeah, he tweeted me the other day how excited he was.
Oh, really? He's tweeting? That's pretty good.
And he was like, "You don't even understand how good of a first job this is." And I was like,
Yeah, I don't think you do.
I don't know
That's
if I do.
awesome, dude.
He was really nice. Emily Mortimer was kind also. She really was interested in Egypt and wanted to talk. We didn't have that much time to talk because we were working, but so that was great. I'm trying to think anyone else. Everyone was really very, very kind to me. I don't really know if that's the real.
No,
person.
that was a great. That was a. You took that question well. That was good.
Yeah.
Knox, I know Knox. You got a question.
Sorry, there's a little background with mine. So you went to Stanford Underground and then USC for grad school, correct?
Yes.
No conflict there? That would be...
I know.
There is a sports conflict. But when I was at Stanford, they were horrible, the football team. And then when I left, they became good, and USC became bad. So I think I'm poison. I'm football.
So, which jersey do you wear on Saturdays?
I've been to more USC tailgates.
That's a fun school, dude. By the way, Hook 'em Horns, we played y'all way before your time. National championship game. You probably don't remember that. USC Texas? No? That was an awesome one. All right,
I'm totally ignorant when it comes to most things sports related. So,
Ayel, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, what impressed you or surprised you the most in working with the HBO production company?
Well, all the stuff I'd done before this was independently produced for the most part. So I was really impressed by everyone was really excited to be there. The attitude was really great. Everything was organized to a T. We were always ahead of schedule. That impressed me. Again, Aaron Sorkin's integrity to be authentic, that impressed me. The caliber of the actors also, and the woman in the trailer next to me her name is Adina Porter, and she was super nice to me. She's one of the warmest people that I met. And she was in the Susie Lauren Parks play Venus, which is Susie Lauren Parks is a huge, amazing playwright, and she was the lead in one of her main plays, and I was totally geeking out. So I didn't really expect to be surrounded by this royalty of the theater working on TV and film. It was really inspiring. Trying to think more about HBO in general. It was done like a film. I felt there was a sense of leisure. There was a little bit of time. We had time if it wasn't working out. I think that was, yeah. My experience was smooth. It was very positive.
And okay, but you should not be on the show, by the way, right? Because you were supposed to be killed.
Oh.
Tell us that. I had to throw that kind of scare you for a second. So you were not supposed to be on the show.
Well, as of now, I'm only in this episode this season. There's murmurs that I might come back next season. I really don't know. I can't really say for sure. So.
No, but you had originally said that you thought you had died in one of the episodes.
But originally, before when I was auditioning for the part, apparently I was going to be killed.
So maybe they thought, wait a minute, this guy's actually pretty good. Let's just say he gets maimed, keep him alive for a while. Hey, that's good, man.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. But I'm glad they kept me alive because there's a lot of stuff happening in Egypt. Maybe they'll need me to come back next season to report it. I really don't know.
Yeah.
It's all conjecture. That would be lovely. It was such a fantastic team to work with, and I'd be thrilled to do it again. But who knows?
Is that the worst thing you can get when you read a script? You're like, oh, this is great. I'm doing great. What? I get killed? Come on.
Well, I can't say I was really disappointed because it was just so good. I would have done it whether or not I get killed or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you think about it in terms of more career point of view, having a series regular part or a recurring part is a big deal. But I'm also really lucky. My first TV show was not either me being like a heinous terrorist or me saying, would you like fries on that? That was my one line.
Right.
I feel really lucky.
All right, your brother has been quiet for a while. We need some scoop here, man. What should we dig up on this guy? Just something interesting growing up.
Well, he has a notorious gummy addiction. And
I knew you were going to say that.
Gummy bears?
I don't know if you want me to talk about that.
Yes, we do. Open up.
Yeah.
I've been in rehab for gummy.
Yeah, I'll let him talk about it. It's kind of a tough topic. So.
Yeah. Is it tough to? Is it what draws you to the gummy bears? What happens? Is it red? Is it the green? Is it the yellow? Is there one that you think more?
I think with gummy bears, and especially with sour gummies, which I have a preference towards, I think they have this kind of tartness. So there's a little bit of an edge to the sweetness. And fruit kind of has that. I really like fresh fruit. And so you don't really get that. I like chocolate too, but it's just not quite the same. You don't get that kind of sweet, and I don't know. I like gummies. Not the only one.
Gummy worms or gummy bears? Does it have to be a bear? Can it be a worm? Can it be any kind of gummy?
I don't like the worms quite as much, but they're all good. There's some I like more than others. The German company Haribo is my favorite. Haribo. You've probably seen them around. I also like Sour Patch Kids. I mean, the idea of eating kids is a little bit disturbing.
That's kind of creepy. Yeah.
That's kind of
When does
disturbing.
the intervention episode come out?
Man, your brother, I'll tell you, your brother's bringing out some great stuff tonight. Maybe you should be doing the interview in here. This is awesome. Gummy bear addiction. You've got the animals with the flying in space. Yeah, this is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I haven't really opened that as an exclusive.
And when you're up on the stage, we're gonna have all this archive that it'll come up at the Oscars. It'll come up, and you'll be so embarrassed that we have it recorded. All right, Ayel, you got another question? Go for it. We've only got about 10 more minutes.
Yeah, so
he's been
I see
nice
that,
enough to stay on this long.
I see that your development is something, as a professional, something that's very important to you. What types of roles or projects are you looking to get involved with going forward? Are you leaning more toward theater, television, film, what?
I'm right now television. Like I said before, it's Aaron Sorkin said this funny thing that the best theater is now on TV. So I've been really compelled with the writing that's been coming up. It also has been much better in terms of diversity than film, I find, and theater too, unfortunately, on the highest levels. So to talk about like the highest level of each industry, I think TV. I will always do theater. Theater is, again, like my religion. It's what keeps me on my toes. It's what keeps me growing. It's the element of community that I love that you don't really get from being on a film as much unless you're maybe a series regular. So I will always do that. But right now I'm pursuing TV pretty straightforward. And I do a little bit of independent film here and there. But I'm not sure what's next. This is an exciting time for me. There's a lot of growth. This job, after it aired especially, has opened up so many opportunities for me. So I really don't know exactly what's next. But it's going to be good, whatever it is. You could always go back to the circus and be a clown since you're a MBA in clowning. Yeah. That wasn't really my specialty. It was an acting program, but we had elements of clown. I think it was classic, man. I have like 5 clown noses. I wonder if I could find them. Yeah, you need to find one. Go find your clown. I found an Emmy. You can find a clown nose. Okay, here. Okay. Get ready, Charles. Get ready to take a picture. Are you putting the clown nose on? There's this one. You have to get spirit gum. This is greatness. Charles, this is awesome stuff. You have to photo up if ever there was one. You have to put this atrocious adhesive in it, and then put it there. Which probably gives you. Let's see. Man, we didn't know all this about you. This one's kind of fun. Sounds. This one I wore on a Moliere play. I played this dirty old man, and I stole it. Oh my gosh! Wow. Very bulbous, one might say. Great stuff. Yeah, there's a few others. Those are the 2 best ones. You know, when you're a theater actor, you build this kit of random, makeup and stuff. So that's what this is. My makeup.
Well, from dirty old man to foreign correspondent, you're moving up.
Yeah, you've got to wear makeup. That's tough. The makeup thing is tough. You always end up with stuff on your collar and all that nonsense.
I hate it, but you have to do it. Actually, on the show, the HBO show, they wanted to make me a little bit darker, so they just put bronzer on me. That was it.
Okay.
So it wasn't really that intense.
Well, I've never had that problem.
Jill is on the line. Jill's a good friend from school.
Jill is?
From Stanford.
Oh, really? Why haven't you asked a question, Jill? Okay, now we get
I've been trying to think of a question to ask, but
then I'll phrase it for you. I'm gonna push you, Jill. Okay, we got the brother, we got the young stuff. What was he like in college?
Amin, one thing that was really great about Amin is that no, I'm only gonna say nice things, Amin.
No, give us everything.
But it sometimes was really scary to take risks in the drama department and in student theater, and Amin always stood out because he would be really creative. He would try things that were really scary and risky, and it would usually end up being absolutely hilarious because he has a great comedic talent. So he was just and he was cast in like everything. Like he was just cast over and over and over again because he was so versatile. So I actually was not overly surprised that his first big gig out of college was so great because like he really was always very passionate and hardworking back in college.
Thanks, Jill. Jill and I did a number of scenes together and a few shows, I think.
This is greatness.
Yeah, we were in some acting classes together. I think one show together.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to say something here. We've had great guests. We've had Olympic agents, NBA team presidents, Dallas Cowboy football players.
We've had actors. Not like the other.
But I'll tell you what, you brought a different dynamic that we've never had. We've never had stories about childhood where you bring someone on and tell the story. You have someone in college telling the story. Who's coming next? Is Grandma coming next up here? What? I mean, we've got all these things. This is awesome.
Yeah, I didn't expect my brother to come, so I'm grateful that he came. Thank you.
This is fantastic. I love this. Really great stuff. We only got about 3 more minutes, folks, so you better ask one more question.
I got a question for you.
All right, Charles.
I mean, your mother, from what I'm reading, was an actress as well over in Egypt, I believe. No?
No. Well, my great grandmother was a child actress.
Oh, that's great grandmother.
She was younger.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
My mom is a pharmacist.
Okay. Well, did your grandmother influence you, and if so, how so? And
yes. My grandma she just passed away a few months ago, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's been interesting. She was an extraordinary human being, a very rich, vibrant storyteller. Me and my brother, I mean, we're endlessly influenced by her. Her love of language, and she would teach us like new words, and she also had like kind of a dirty sense of humor that would come out every once in a while, and that we loved. And she was always really crass, and not crass, but she was always really direct in what she thought. Some of the stuff we didn't, believe in with her, but we didn't agree with. But you have to kind of applaud someone who's that opinionated. She would always make everyone in the room feel really special. She had a flair of theatricality. She would always try to look her best, and at parties she was always the center of the party. So I mean, she introduced me to all these old movies. So much of me has been influenced. My sense of humor, my sense of culture, my sense of who I am as an Egyptian American person. She's really one of the funniest, cleverest people I'd ever met. And she was in a film with the legendary, most famous singer in Egypt at the time in the 30s. I guess who was equivalent of kind of Judy Garland to us.
Wow.
And she played this little girl, and she just lit up the whole set. She was kind of from an aristocratic family, so they didn't encourage her to pursue that further. But yeah. So she's kind of like a figure. There's some amazing pictures. I don't have any with me, but she's I really miss her. It's been interesting having all this success and knowing that she kind of didn't get to enjoy it with me, and even though she was definitely a part of it. That's my grandmother.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Thank you for
we
sharing
appreciate you sharing all these stories. Really like what you're doing on social media.
Thank you.
Congrats on all the success. I mean, this is phenomenal. A year out. We look forward to watching and seeing your career grow.
Thanks.
And come back if you ever want to come back and visit with us and you get big.
I will. For sure. You know how to reach me.
I'll tell you what would be interesting. We should get Charles. We should organize down the road. Get the newsroom cast up here, and we'll do a little hangout. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
You know, do it from the set or something. Good luck with the rest of the
time. We'll see. Yeah.
And we really appreciate everything. And I want to make a quick note. We're having a special, possibly anybody out there watching, Charles. We're going to have we've been contacted by an Olympic high jumper. They watch our show from London, and they're getting ready to do, and they want to come on.
That's so much cooler than me.
Yeah, dude, you want to come on? You want to come on and ask a question? Come on. It's this Wednesday. What time, Charles? What are we doing? 10:30 in the morning?
It's actually, I think, either at 11:30 or 12:30 for our time, for Eastern time.
But this Wednesday, we're having an Olympic high jumper on. They contacted us out of the blue.
We will be creating an event.
Well, I think what you guys are doing is really groundbreaking. It's one of, I think you guys know that. So.
No, keep saying that because we're recording right now. Go ahead and say this. You say it in your own words, but I
do have to say something.
Words. Chris Yates was the greatest thing ever invented on the internet. But I want you to say it in your words. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, it's a very progressive, a very groundbreaking, an exciting way to connect with people, I think, and to engage them in a way they're not typically been able to engage. Though I have to say, because my other brother works for a company called Spreecast.
No! Sorry.
He was really ashamed of me.
I'm
You're not
sorry.
going to Google Plus. You can't. Spreecast.
I'm sorry, dude. I heard actually. I will say this, and I will say this on Google. I love the folks at Google. They back me up, and I love them. We may have to edit this one out, Charles. But I've heard great things. You can share this with your brother. This little short link. I've heard Spreecast is great. I heard they're doing
I was half joking. I mean, Google is great, obviously.
No, but honestly, I've heard they're doing great stuff over there as well.
If you wanted me to, I promised I would plug them to you guys. Since you guys are
I'm plugging them back. I hear they're doing great stuff over there.
Thanks.
So tell your brother. Way to go.
I will. He's going to be proud of me.
Yeah, that was pretty good, man. That was way to put it in at the very end. Hey, you're a smart guy. And I appreciate everything. You guys keep in touch. And everybody, another great show. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
You too, Charles.